Howdy, it's Maggie Williams again, and I am here for our second presentation on data analysis, and this one is about the quality of your research. And I noticed, I just watched the previous video and I thought it was a bit boring, so I'm going to try and be a little bit more lively during this presentation, and I hope it will work. So, eyes and ears, we've used our eyes and ears to gather our data, then we are making head or tail, our interpretation, gathering, structuring the data, and then interpreting it is the analysis, and then the result, and then we have a conclusion, but that conclusion, how good is it? So let's go first through a quick example. In terms of behavioral archaeology, I have here 3 pictures of what happens on this table. Picture number 1, take a good look. Picture number 2, again, look for the details. And picture number 3, so what have we seen? We've seen dinner setting, food, not vegetarian, for 2 people. Then the Haveloods is points towards Rotterdam, is a free weekly newspaper. Top toys, maybe it's just an advertisement, maybe it tells us that this person has kids. While here on the side we see some tools, there are some chocolate bits, again something that looks like leaflets with stuff for kids, but hard to say. Homeopathic medicine, multi-copy. What can we somebody is reading a book on this side. What could we conclude from these things? Well, maybe it would be easy to conclude that this person is possibly, most likely not vegetarian, because there was meat on the table, but that there's things related to children on the table does not necessarily mean, for example, that this person has children. There could be children visiting, there could be little nieces and nephews over for the weekend. So if we see these things, we immediately draw these type of conclusions. However, in research, we take as from the previous presentation, we take a lot of steps to ensure that our data analysis is very rigorous and that there is a certain quality to the conclusions that we draw. Now, what can we do to actually establish that quality of research? Well, one of them is to really fully benefit from your data. Use all the data that you have. Don't discard any data. One of them is to really follow the rules of scientific data analysis, especially like the whole story for the interview with the coding. First do the open labeling, then the actual coding, and then the, what was it again, selective coding. Right? Don't go straight to your conclusions. If you want to be accepted in science, follow the rules. And then also to research your aim. You have a client, you want to convince that client, or you want to make that client happy with your results, then the quality of your research, or the way that you present your conclusions that will be different in relation to how your client accepts it. In terms of really fully benefiting from your data, use all of it. Work accurately so you don't lose or miss anything. Use and show details from the data also in your conclusions, using quotes, like, oh, when that happens I feel like throwing it in the bin. That is a very clear quote that shows dissatisfaction with whatever of the user. These type of quotes or details from the data, especially screenshots, pictures, can really support the conclusion that you in the end present. Be creative, so make smart combinations of the data that you use in how you present your conclusions, and make good visualizations that help people to get in there. Now, if you talk about quality of research, I said to be accepted in science, you have to follow the rules. One of these aspects there is to use accepted methods. And as I said, we discussed before, designers have a bit of different aims than academics, so we tend to be creative with our methods that we use. So we don't choose specifically structured or unstructured interviews, but semi-structured interviews, but then follow these methods in a good way if you want to be accepted in science. Two criteria that are often important are reliability and validity. Reliability is really about the quality of the measurement itself. Can it be repeated? If you do the same type of research with the same type of subjects, will it lead to the same conclusions? Can it be repeated? That's what the reliability criterion is about. And the validity criterion is, has been measured what is claimed to be measured. Yeah, maybe a little bit off-topic example, but I like very much the program Room Raiders by MTV. You can see old versions of that on YouTube. And I just watched an episode, and then three guys are taken out of their house, and a girl visits the house, visits the 3 rooms of the boys, and then draws her conclusions based on what she sees in those rooms, and then chooses to date one based on what she's seen in the rooms. And so one of the things that happened in the episode that I just saw was that the girl finds a sleeping mask of the boy, and her conclusion is that she finds that too feminine for a boy to wear a sleeping mask. Now actually, when you see the reaction of the guy, he wears a sleeping mask because he goes to swimming practice at 5:30 in the morning, and then so he needs to catch up on sleep during the day, and that's why he needs his mask. So he doesn't wear the mask during his normal nightly sleep. So for the interpretation of the girl is that it's a sign of femininity. However, that is not, as she's not been measuring by that observation what she claims to be measuring, because it has a different setting. Is that a good explanation? Anyway, validity is about what has been measured, what is claimed to be measured. Now, the quality of research, plausibility, is in the book, and the criteria of Robson are mentioned in the research. This is it. 5 criteria, and they are quite likely to be in the exam. The first one is triangulation. You can see here a picture about triangulation in mobile phones. If you have a mobile phone and at one point it is connected to 3 different, the name of the towers, it's connected to 3 different senders, and the signal to both the 3 cell IDs is known, and the strength of the signal. Based on 3, you can calculate the location of the mobile phone. If this cell ID was not known, then you would know only a very large area in which the mobile phone would likely be. However, with 3 different things, you have a very good measure. In research, this is very different. Triangulation means looking at it from more than one way to double check the point of view. So it could be that on the one hand you do in-depth interviews with a small group of people, and that you also do a survey with a larger group of people to double check some of the outcomes from the interviews. That is an example of triangulation. Another important thing in terms of plausibility is keeping a logbook or any other thing that develops an audit trail, so that if people question you, you can come back and show the steps that have led to where you are. But also, for example, strange occurrences in the data can be found. So, for example, if you have done certain things, it's more in scientific energy, but for example, if you've registered the time and it's about people's moods. It can be that because of daily fluctuations in the moods, you will find different results in the evening than in the morning. And if there's new data about it, you can go back through your audit trail, through your logbooks, to find out about those things and double check again. Another important aspect is peer debriefing. Checks by colleagues, so your colleague investigators, they have also been going through the same type of data, or they have, or you go with colleagues a bit farther away that are not involved in your research but that do have research experience. They might give you a different perspective, or very often we talk about our research and they say, have you looked at that? Have you considered that? Did you check that type of angle? And that going through these type of aspects will help you have a higher quality of research in the end. Then member checking, checks by those directly involved. That is simply going back to the people and asking them to confirm or, of course, deny your conclusions. And the last thing which is important in terms of plausibility is negative case analysis. Sometimes you do that within your data, or sometimes as an after check you go looking for that. And so if your conclusion is that, come up with a conclusion. For example, that from the pictures of the table, if you say, well, probably this person has children, then you also go looking for other things that are in your research data that point in the other direction, that this person probably maybe doesn't have children. So for example, if you would also have a picture of the insides of the refrigerator, you look to the type of food there and you look if there are any indications otherwise. Sometimes you already have negative cases inside your data. So maybe 10 people say very positive things about your product, or 10 people are on the positive side of an element, and you had one that wasn't, then of course it's true that most people do, but going extra in analysis of the negative case can help you to have a good look at the validity of the things based on the positive cases, and in that way reinforce the quality of your research. So in your discussion, discuss the negative cases and your conclusions based on the positive cases. Will be stronger. Yes. So these are 5 important criteria in terms of quality of research. Reach your aim in terms of to be accepted by the client. Of course, you have to follow the rules in the same way as in the academic world, but in terms of, especially if it's in terms of design research, it's way more important to also be, not way more important, but it's also important to also be very empathic in your presentation and conclusions. Also really make arrangements with your client that you are in agreement of the research questions and in agreement in the way you give them the results. If in the end you come up with your results and the client says, yes, but I need more hard statistical information, for example, to convince our management, then you have a problem. So beforehand agree on the form of the results you will take. Manage expectations. If you are doing exploratory research, then there also can be unexpected results. Things can point in a completely different direction than the client is expecting, and they should accept that, or they should at least know that that is a possibility. And of course, make a really attractive presentation that really engages the client and the client needs. That is to be accepted by the client in terms of the quality of your research. So that even if you have great research, if you don't communicate it well, it downplays the quality of your research. That's it. Thanks for joining, and I hope it was a bit more lively this time.